Bonsai bloke, here you go. Well, good day guys, and welcome to my dead tree. So what happened? Well, I'll tell you what happened. We had a couple of 40-degree days in a row. The tree was looking fine up until then, and then the heat wave hit, for a few days at least, and turns out this here wasn't getting enough water from the misting system. It was just enough to keep it okay in the cooler days. As soon as we had a couple of hot days, it dried right out, completely bone dry, really light to lift, and lost all its leaves. Have all burnt off. So you can see how crispy it is. Leaves are gone. Hope you can hear that. So leaves are gone. Okay. Anyway, what to do now? I guess you could cry. Or you could realise, being a deciduous tree, 1 or 2 days being dry, especially if it's only one and the leaves dry out, that's a deciduous tree's defence mechanism against dying. So good news guys, if this has happened to you, or you're just looking at this video now because this happened to you this summer, we got a gift for Christmas and now it's dried out. Well, there's hope, and not just hope, 100% hope. This tree is still 100% alive. It drops all its leaves first, saves the roots as much as it can, and now it will bud back as long as we soak it in some water. So what do? Right. So it's just dried out, completely dried out. What we do is we soak it in some water. Okay. So a bucket of water. Leave it in there for 12 hours. And just leave it in a bucket of water for 12 hours. Let it soak. Bring you guys up on a close up. What a cute dog, by the way. Leo is so cute. Okay, so it's just chilling there in a bucket of water. Okay, so imagine 12 hours is gone. You've given it a good soak. Well, you big stretch, Leo. Right, you've given it a good soak. Now what do? Well, now that we've lost all our leaves, I recommend it's a great time to give the tree a bit of a trim. There's no point at trying to waste energy on pushing out buds out the end. Let's just trim her up. Basically just chop off all the long ones. Another way you can tell that it's really still quite good and there's still sap flow and energy in the tree is that where you cut, I hope it can pick up on that. Still green on the ends are still green. Just really hoping it can pick up on that. I think it can. So the inner sap is still green, should be fine. It's just done its defense mechanism and lost all its leaves, ready to shoot back. So, what trees can you expect this to happen on? Well, almost all deciduous trees have this defense mechanism. If they do dry out enough that all the leaves fall off, there's a good chance out of any deciduous tree that you have that you can soak it in a bucket of water for 12 hours. And then after that, make sure you water it properly. Not soak it all the time, but just keep it moist all the time. And it'll come back. Also, a lot of broadleaf trees will do the same thing. There's lots and lots of broadleaf trees out there that'll do the same thing. If you let them dry out too much and they burn back like this one did, it'll drop the leaves, you soak it. Within 2 weeks, you'll have all new buds showing everywhere, and hopefully all goes well, your tree will be fine, and I'm pretty confident that it will be. Now, when do we run into serious trouble? Well, if you let it run dry like that and don't notice that it lost all its leaves on a hot day, the next day's hot and you still haven't soaked it, and then possibly even a day after that again, if you haven't soaked it, then you are starting to run a serious risk of losing the whole tree. You have to be on it, you have to notice that it lost all its leaves. And how do you know that it dried out? If you know that it's dried out because it lost all its leaves in one day. If it was over water or not enough sunlight, it would take weeks to lose its leaves. So if you're overwatering it, it'll take weeks. And also if it's not getting enough sunlight inside the house, it'll take weeks, it'll go all yellow and sick looking. And most plants, almost most plants, are meant to be outside, not inside. Bit of a tip for your beginners, if you got it as a gift, make sure it gets at least half a day of full sun directly on the leaves. Not in the window, outside, half a day. Okay, if you got a super sunny window, yeah, you could probably get away with a Chinese elm inside, but it's never going to be as healthy as an outside one. Apart from this one that just got burnt. So anyway, cool little tree, got burnt, giving it a soak, it'll come back. Truth is, I actually burnt this one about a week ago, so it's been about a week. Okay, everything's still bright green that I cut back, just to show you that it will survive. Okay, you may lose the odd baby shoot, but generally no, generally you'll keep everything, just to show you that it will survive. There you go, right there. Phone's having a lot of trouble focusing here. Hang on. Just to show you, we'll look down here. You can see here, that is a new green bud coming out already, only 1 week later. Within 2 weeks, this whole tree will be completely full of new buds, and it will have survived. Looks pretty dismal right now, but I 100% guarantee this tree will come back. And it's you know, I guess it's been a one way of doing it, a complete defoliation during summer. Not ideal, but it does have that same effect. And you should notice too that if you do let it dry out, they normally actually bud back really quickly because the roots were still fine, it was just the top that dried out. They normally bud back really quick, and if you don't get anything within a month, your tree's dead. If you let it dry out, you should get something back within at least a month. Normally only, well, that was 1 week and we've already got one shoot, green shoot, bud. But within 2 weeks this should be budding everywhere. I'll show you guys that update, and if it's not doing it within 4 weeks, well, you could keep watering it if you want to, but it's probably cactus. Another thing to keep in note is if you've got a conifer or a juniper, and your conifer or juniper loses all its leaves or needles, or they go brown, that's it, that's cactus. Never come back ever, give up on it. This is for broadleaf and deciduous. So I hope that helps. I'll give you a bit of an update on this in a couple of weeks' time. And yeah, give you an update in a couple of weeks' time, which will actually be on the same video. You know, I'd like to post this video right now because we've just had a heat wave, but I do want to wait for the new leaves to come in so that I can prove to you guys and gals that it will come back 100%. Cheers. I hope this helps some of you guys out. You've got a Christmas present that dried out. And as you can see, it happens to everyone. Don't be embarrassed about it. I'm not embarrassed about it. It was just sitting in a spot that wasn't quite getting enough water for it. Adjust your water so that it does get good water in the future, and it's all forward from here. So I'll show you guys when this is in full leaf, but for now, that's it. Cheers. G'day guys, well here we are about 2.5, 3 weeks later. You can see some of the extension on some of the new growth, and this elm has survived just fine. So if you do have one of those quick burns where it crisps everything up really quick, that's fine. Dunk it in some water and it should be all good. I mean, this one here I had no doubts about because it had only just dried out. And like I showed in the video, dunk it, look after it, water it, and it'll come back. And to be honest, it actually shoots back almost quicker than if you defoliate a tree. So it is a really crude way of defoliating a Chinese elm, but I wouldn't suggest to purposely do that for defoliating, although you seriously could if you were really lazy and a bit of a gambler. All right, cheers. As you can see, beautiful new growth. Obviously the tree defoliates itself to preserve itself. So the first step to dying out or drying out is defoliation to preserve the roots. And you know, as you can see, it survived. Pretty well no branches have died, they're all still alive. And you could call it luck, but I don't think so. Certain trees are designed that way, but you do got to get onto it quick. So if you do run into that trouble, quickly dunk it, get onto it, put in some sea salt solution if you want to, and you should be good. No worries. Cheers guys, I hope you enjoy it. Subscribe if you're a first time viewer, and hopefully you don't run into this trouble, but if you do, and if you're here looking, you probably already have. So just, you know, dunk it in some water and you end up with all this beautiful new growth. Cheers, thanks for watching Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your mates about the channel. And there is a 10,000 subscriber giveaway when we finally get there. Cheers.